aqua friends, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to do this beautiful floral still life with these poppies. They're vibrant and red, and we're going to plan our painting in a couple of layers. For the masking, I'm using contact adhesive paper and masking fluid. So now that we prepped the foreground, we could go ahead and do this beautiful out of focus background. And I'm going to do that wet on wet. So I'm going to wet my paper really well first. So I have some beautiful springy colors here for the background, some warm light. So I'm using some very warm orangey yellows and some springy greens. I do love that green gold from Daniel Smith. I also use sap green. I love to mix my sap green with the shadow green to get a deeper green for the foregrounds. So those are some of the colors that I'm using in order to get this very soft background. Now to get the poppies in the background and get those in there as well, I'm going to be mixing some areas that are going to have some more orangey poppies, especially in that light beam section. They're going to be more of an orangey red. So I'm mixing some transparent pyrrole orange in the mix. So it is good to change up those red colors. You know, some of them could be more on the orange side. Some that might be in the shadows or not in the direct sunlight could be, you know, a darker red. So I am using quite a few different reds. You can see in my palette, I do have Scarlet Lake, quinacridone red, and permanent rose. So while my paper is wet, I'm adding in some of these marks for the poppies in the background. And once you're happy with the amount of the red poppies that you have, then you can build up the foliage, the green foliage around those poppies. I wanted to make sure that since watercolor is a transparent medium, that we get those beautiful red dots in there first. Now with my calligraphy brush, my paper's still wet, and I can go ahead and kind of paint around those dots that I put in the background. Some areas where the light is shining, notice I am bringing in some of my yellows in that top right-hand corner. So you're always building up your color slowly. In watercolor, you work from light to dark. Once I want to bring in these darker greens in the foreground, I want to use less water and more pigment. Notice that my brush strokes are getting more defined now and darker. That's because I'm using less water, more pigment, and also my paper is drying. And for the darkest greens, I'm grabbing some of my shadow green here. So coming up from the bottom and getting some nice long strokes of some blades of grass here. This changes the value of the background, makes it a little darker right at the bottom there, and adds some interest to your painting. If everything was the same value, it would be kind of boring. Okay, it's giving it a little bit of drama. And maybe a little bit of a vignette in the bottom there, kind of to draw the eye up, especially with those long grass strokes. Now, because we darkened up that background at the bottom, it's also a great time for negative painting in a way of painting with water. So this is a technique where you use a damp brush, and it has to be done while your paper is still drying. It's still damp. And basically you're making little controlled blooms with your paintbrush. In, these little hashtag marks I'm making for like some blades of oats or whatever sort of foliage. And you get this really kind of cool effect, and it adds some great texture to the foreground. So how fun is that? Now remember, your brush could only be damp. Always continually wipe off that brush on a piece of paper towel. And in order to make these little marks, notice I changed brushes. I'm using a flat brush for this job. And I love it. It's so adorable. It's so much fun. And if you're shy or worried about doing this, I would practice on a piece of paper. If your brush is too wet, you will drop too much water on the paper and it'll make a big splotch and kind of ruin the effect. So again, I can't stress how important it is to wipe off your damp brush on a piece of paper towel first. It has to be damp but not soaking wet. All right, so once you're happy with that, you're going to let the whole thing dry. We are now going to remove our mask from the poppies and the masking fluid from the stems so that we could paint our main attraction. Now, some of these stems do cross over in front of the poppies, so the poppies are actually in the midground on some of these. So for the poppy in the bottom right-hand corner, I'm going to start there because I'm left-handed. If you're right-handed, you'd probably start in the upper left-hand corner. There is a stem that crosses over the front of this poppy, so I'm going to wet the poppy in 2 stages, working on the right-hand side of this poppy first, and starting with my lighter orangey red color. And then as I'm painting, notice I'm changing the reds as I go along. So you're not just going to have a solid orange color because it's going to have like absolutely no definition to it at all. As my paint is drying, as my paper is drying, I can continue to add in more of the reds. I can use a thicker pigment of paint to get darker results, and I can also bring in a little bit of my cobalt blue in order to get some shadows on these petals. Cobalt blue or Perusian blue. I also have indigo, so depending how dark you want your shadows to be, you could kind of play around with those mixtures. So while I wait for that side to dry, I could go ahead and hop over to the left-hand side of this poppy, and we're going to work in the exact same way. Wet the petal first, wet the whole flower first, and then start off with your lightest colors. Watercolor, you're working from lights to darks. That means I'm grabbing my orangey red first and building up from there. It's been a long winter here in Pittsburgh. I am looking forward to seeing the flowers. So this is a perfect painting to get us into the spring season. I think one of my favorite things to see pop up in the springtime is the forsythia bushes. And when you see all that beautiful yellow, it just really reminds you that spring is here. So that is our first layer, and now I can go ahead and work on the next poppy. Now, for the poppies that are touching one another, I do want to say before you move on to your final third poppy, you do have to make sure that you let that first one dry, that the ones that are touching. It has to be bone dry because you will create a bloom on the one that you just painted. Bringing in a little bit of blue, get in those shadows on that poppy. Once the first layer is drying, I could go ahead back to my first poppy and do the stems. Now these poppies definitely need a second layer to bring forth that vibrancy. So we're going to do a glaze over our first layer. And I'm going to work through the different petals, and while one is drying, I'll work on the other ones. This glaze really brings forth the main attraction, that's for sure. It's totally worth doing a light glaze over these, over the first layer. Know that one petal is dry, so I could go ahead and work on these next petals. While I'm waiting for my glaze to dry, I could finish off these stems. Now, while I'm putting the glaze on, I felt like I needed some more of the shadows on the underside. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up some of my blues and drop that in while everything is wet. Last petal. Dun dun dun. Last stem. Dun dun dun. When you're all done, go ahead and sign your painting. You guys just created a masterpiece. Congratulations. Remove the tape. Admire that nice white border. Pop it in a frame and celebrate spring. If you guys enjoyed this flower tutorial, check out this next video right here. I'll meet you guys there. Thanks for watching.